Hi everyone, it's Miss Sauer. It is Thursday, May 14th. We are finishing up Unit 11 this week. I'm really excited about it. I hope it's been easy getting to know a little more about a new syllable type, Magic E. Let's get started. You know what to do on this page. Go ahead and pause me. You know your choices are to either go through every single sound and the alphabet chant or point to different cards and say the sound. Now, this is a very, very important new thing we've been practicing. Since we are first graders getting ready for second grade, we must be flexible with our vowel sounds. They can have two different sounds. So a vowel always has a short sound, and it also has a long sound. The long sound usually sounds exactly like the letter's name. There's only one exception to that, and that is with the letter U. The letter U has an extra long sound. We'll go over it. Copy after me. A, A. E, E. I, I. O, O. U, U, oo. So this last guy right here, he's our tricky one. Oo is not the same as U's name, but it is a very frequently occurring way to make the long U sound. That's why we want to make sure students are practicing it. So this week, you learned about a new syllable type. You learned about Magic E. Boys and girls, can you hear a Magic E on the end of a word? No way. You cannot hear that Magic E. And that's why Miss Sauer taught you that when you're marking a Magic E word, cross that E out, you shut that E up. Shh. Don't tell anyone I said that bad word. Just shut that E right up. But what does Magic E do? Why is that E at the end of a word if he's not making any sound? Magic E tells the first vowel to do what? To say its name or to make its long sound. Good thinking. So I wanted to go over how we are going to write these long vowel sounds in isolation. When we are in school, we like to practice writing just sounds. All of these little sounds, what we call graphemes, phonemes, are going to come together to create smaller and bigger and bigger and bigger words. So it's important for us teachers to see how our children are doing with the smallest units of sound. Normally, this would look like us giving a sound such as B. The child would then write a letter B. Well, that's a very simple sound to identify and write down. However, now that we know about long vowel sounds and we know at least two ways to make them, we're going to have two things to write. So if Miss Sauer or your teacher were to give you the sound A, you would write this letter A on your page, and you would also write A-E on your page. Both of these make the long A sound. Let me show you why that's important. Let's say I gave you the sound O. Well, O by itself can say O in an open syllable word like go. However, O-E, the Magic E way, also makes the long vowel sound O in words like home. So it's important that our children write both styles. It's them identifying that they know there's more than one way to make that sound. I would pause the video now and have your child write down every single one of these sounds here. A, A-E, E, E-E. Have them write it all down. Pause now, start me up when you're all finished. Let's go ahead and move on. So here I have a bank of some Magic E words. They're all mixed up. I just want you to pick two or three, any two or three, and just practice reading them. You can pause me if that helps take the pressure off. I personally studied date, home, and dune. What did you practice? Let's go ahead and move on. So, Magic E might seem pretty easy so far, right? There are some tricksters in there. When we're working with I-E and with U-E, sometimes our mouth does this silly thing where it kind of flaps over and tricks us into thinking that there's an extra letter in there. Let me give you an example of what I mean. And kids will do this all the time, so it's so important that we go over it. Look at that first word, mile. Mile is a measure of distance for the kids that aren't sure. When a kid fingerspells mile, it must be very, very clean cut, very nicely segmented in order to get the correct sounds. It should be segmented like this. M, I, O. And then when your mouth puts it together, it sounds like mile. However, here's what some kids do by accident. This is what you should not do, but it happens. Mile. M, I, O. They got tricked. The little flap in our mouth made us think that there was an extra letter in there. So here's how some kids accidentally spell the word mile. This is the correct spelling right here on this page. Let me show you what some kids do by accident. Some kids, because of that extra letter that they thought they heard, would spell mile like this. That's not how. We want it to look just like this. Another example of that mistake happening is in the word fire. Your mouth does that little flappy thing again. It's important that you segment very, very clearly to make sure you spell it correctly. Here's what it should be segmented like. Fire. I-er. Here's what some kids do by accident. I-y-er. And it ends up looking like this. Wait till you see. Fire. They thought they heard a y. They thought they heard a y. But it's because their mouth was playing a trick on them. Are you going to let the Magic E trick you? Magic E already tricked the first vowel into saying his own name. Are you going to let him trick you? No way. Let's try and fingerspell the word cube. Your mouth is going to do that flappy thing. Let's segment it really clearly. Let's fingerspell cube really clearly. Cube. Let's do another one, just real quick. How about the word file? A file, like a folder or something you do with old documents. File. Let's segment it or fingerspell it very, very clearly. File. I-O. I didn't let my mouth trick me. Did you let your mouth trick you? I hope not. Let's go on to the next page. I think you're ready for it. Okay. So I do need to help you through a little bit of spelling dictation at this time. This will take just a minute, okay? Uh-oh, what's happening here? Oh, goodness. Hang on, the sour's lost. Okay. Oh, it's recording what I say, guys. We'll just let it go. So one of our goals today is we're going to be adding the suffix S onto some of these Magic E words. It's not something we've done yet, but suffix S is something you know how to do. The most important part about spelling words with the suffix S at the end is to make sure you take that suffix off, identify the base word, and fingerspell that. Let's try it now. Say the word notes. Notes. Note. Notes. What's your base word? Did you say note? Let's fingerspell it. N-O-T. Note. So all we're going to do is say the sounds we hear. N-O-T. What made that O long? Magic E, of course. Remember your suffix S. Macron over the O. You shut that E up, right? Circle your suffix. Underline the base word. Easy enough. Let's go on to some more practice for you kids. Oopsie. Having a tough time here, guys. Okay, we're good to go. So now it's your turn with spelling dictation. Right now you need your pencil, you need your piece of paper. I'm going to help you through taking the suffix off of the base word. I'm going to help you finger spell that base word. We're going to make sure that we finger spell the base word very, very clearly so that our mouth doesn't play any tricks on us. We don't get tricked. We're too smart for it. Let's get going. All right. First word, waves. Wave, waves. What's your base word? Wave. Finger spell it. W-A-V. Wave. Go ahead and pause the video and write the word waves. All right, next word. This one, it's going to try and trick you. Your mouth is about to try to trick you. Are you going to let it? Don't you let it. All right, your word is piles. Like what teachers always have on their desk, piles. Pile, piles. What's your base word? Just pile. Finger spell it without getting tricked. I-O. Go ahead and pause the video. Write down piles. And then I've got one last word for you. Here we go. The word is hides. As in the game hide and seek. Hides. Hide. Hides. What's your base word? Hide. Finger spell it. I-D. Hide. Pause the video, take some time to write it down. Alrighty, if I'm unpaused now, then you're ready to go over your spelling. But before I go over it with you, I should have told you, make sure that you mark your word. Is there a macron over your talking vowels? Did you put a line through that magic E to make it shut up? Don't tell anyone I said that they were. And did you remember to circle your suffix S and underline the base word? If you haven't marked your word, pause the video, real quick mark the words and I'll go over them. Alrighty, I'll make it a little bit bigger. So I accidentally went in reverse order. So on my review board here, we're looking from the bottom up. Your first word was waves. W-A-V-E-S, waves. Your next word was piles. P-I-L-E-S. Did you get tricked or did you do it? If you accidentally put in the letter Y, don't worry, you'll learn over time. Don't let your mouth trick you. And last, you did the word hides. H-I-D-E-S, hides. I'm going to hold this for a second so you can see the marking. I have macrons over all of my talking vowels. I crossed off all my magic E's because they don't make any sound. I circled my suffix S and I underlined my base words. I hope that that was easier for you today since you've been working on Magic E for about 2 weeks. So here's what we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to have a little checkup. Your checkup is not being kept as a grade. It's not something that's going to follow you over to second grade or anything like that. Your teacher might hang on to it just as helpful information, but it's really just meant for practice, and it's meant to show our teachers what we're getting really good at and what we need a little more work on. See, what happens is after you submit your checkups, the teachers tell me, you know what, the kids need a little more work on this, or my kids did an awesome job with this. And then when I create the lessons for the next week, I think of those things and I make sure you get all the right practice, okay? We may not be in school, but I can still take care of you. So if you are in Miss Sauer or Miss Azarano's class, you can head over to Seesaw. There's an assignment waiting for you. The spelling practice that you did, you could send a picture to me or Miss Azarano. That's fine, but it's not required. There's an assignment there waiting for you. It's a sorting activity. If you're in another class, hang on to that spelling practice and show it off to your teacher. There's one more bit of practice you can do if you choose. Here's that same bank of magic E-words. There's a lot of things you can do with it to practice. You can read through the words, of course. You can choose some of them to write on a piece of paper and mark them with your macron and your cross through the E. You could also take some of these words and throw on a suffix S for practice. Let's choose 3 or 4 of these words if you're in another class to practice working with. All right, guys, tomorrow we'll do a checkup. Nothing to be nervous about. And tomorrow's Friday. It's the best day of the week. Nothing to be upset about. We're almost there, guys. All right, I will see you tomorrow. And here's a celebrity guest. It's my dog, Gary. I think my lesson bored him to sleep. Bye-bye.